I'll be honest, I think it's the greatest thing to ever happen to the Republican Party. I really do. I think if a communist takes over New York City, I think that's a gift to the Republican Party. It's sad for New York, but it's a gift. And New York will recover because sometimes you need a shock like that to strip me out. But it's politically, it's probably a very good thing. That's a lot. That's a lot. I don't think they're very much pushing us. They're going to be very secure. Well, that's an interesting, I guess, but we're going to make sure they're safe. They're run by radical lunatics and they don't know what they're doing. Look at Washington, D.C. I just got numbers. There's like no crime in Washington, D.C. You, Jeff, will not be mugged walking down the street. You can walk down the street with your family. You can walk down the street with your wife, your daughter, your son, and you're not going to be... We took out 1,700 career criminals that were not allowing that. And we have this city in great shape. You know, there was a time when every single, not long ago, when every single week you'd have at least one murder. And look what's happening with Washington. It's safe. I went to dinner in Washington, just to prove a point. I gave a press conference in the middle of the street. I wouldn't say Secret Service was thrilled, but I did it. And here I am. Look, Washington, D.C. is such a great example of what can be done. We did it in 12 days. We made it very safe in 12 days, and now it's much safer than that. One other thing, I drove around Washington over the weekend, and I said, look at the difference. The grass looked great, everything looked great. You know, we had a lot of our National Guard, and we didn't ask them to do it. They did it themselves. They're proud. They're great. And they were picking up paper. They were cleaning the place. Really beautiful. So we have a great Washington, D.C. We, as you probably know, we're going into Memphis and we're going into some other cities, and very soon we're going to go into Chicago. It will be safe for the World Cup. If I think it isn't safe, we'll move it into a different city, absolutely. We'll take the world. If I think it's not, it's actually a very fair question. If I think it's not safe, we're going to move it out of that city. If, like, the governor of Illinois, who was, you know, last week and the week before, 11 murders, and 38 people were shot. Then he gets up and says, this is a very safe. And then he says crime is better. The reason crime is better is because Daesh put, about 5 months ago, a whole team of FBI people there to get ready for when we go in, and they've lowered it a little bit, you know, like 20-25%, which isn't good enough, but it's a good start. But that was only put there because they're preparing for us to go in. And they've done, by the way, they've done a good job. So then Kristen gets up, we've lowered crime 25% because the FBI was here. So, no, if any city we think is going to be either a little bit dangerous or the World Cup, we're going to be ready to sit on the boat and look at all of the world. But for the World Cup in the future, which is a thing of some of those things, we won't allow it to go to one or the other. But I hope that's not going to happen.
Hi, Johnny. Who's here? Hi, Johnny, con à. I keep my cat shower so you can smell them better.
You're filming 4 criminals out of our country.
Yes, hard work, that's why.
Joe Biden is
That was the trip coming down?
It wasn't too bad.
You go down to, what's it, Kennedy, all that, get the Facebook Kennedy. I mean, you go down to, that side down there. About 40 miles.
So, the country is respected like it's probably almost never been respected before. I think we're respected it well. And a year ago, it was a dead country. We had a dead country a year ago. This country was dying. It was really in bad shape. Let's talk about the next episode.
One of the most powerful concerns we have to violent crime is the death penalty. As you said, your administration is taking bold, decisive steps to ensure that Washington, D.C. is once again a safe and secure city for its residents and all who visit. This is a presidential memorandum that directs your Attorney General and your U.S. Attorney in the District of Columbia, Judge Steve Hero, to fully implement the death penalty here in Washington, D.C., where the evidence and facts of the case indicate that the death penalty should be used.
Okay? Everybody understands death penalty in Washington. You kill somebody, or you kill a police officer, or a enforcement officer, death penalty. And hopefully they won't be there. So again, it's way down, and we have had week after week after week where we haven't had a murder. I said that the other day in front of the president of Poland. The press was here and I said, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to announce that Washington, D.C. has not had a death in 4 weeks, a murder. And he looked at me and goes, is that good or bad? He said, what kind of a place is this? But it's true for years. I mean, every week essentially somebody got killed or more than one. And this is a very safe city right now. We don't play games. And you know, it's interesting. We took these careers out, career criminals. They call them careers. They left the word criminal out. But we took the careers out of here. And they're now brought back to their homes, or they're in jail, or they're in a jail in another country. And hopefully they're not coming back. And we have to maintain it. You can't just leave, and we have to maintain it. And we've gotten along fairly well with the mayor. You know, she's got a party that hates that the city's becoming safe. I mean, they're actually criticizing her because the city's becoming safe. But this is becoming this is right now a very, very safe city. This is the city. This went from the most unsafe city in the country to the safest city in the country. There's no city any safer. That's a pretty good achievement. And we really did it in 12 days. But if you raise an extra week, you know it's got to be nice. And we can go out to dinner. Restaurants are booming. You know, the restaurants are dead. And even if you got to the restaurant, then somebody would come in and hold you up. You know, they hold up the whole restaurant. We're going to Uber. Young ladies in the White House, they call Uber for protection. They run to the car, because they'll petrify the people from the entrance of their building to the car. Now they feel safe, they're in the car, and then the car gets hijacked while they're in the back of the car. This was what we were living in. We were living in hell. People that work in the White House, every time they see me, young women in particular, say, thank you, sir. And I don't even ask them about what. I know exactly. And we realize now they're living in a beautiful, glamorous place called Washington, D.C. And that's the way it should be. Okay? This is the death penalty for somebody that